Welcome into the Toronto Sports Rush right here on the Bet Rivers Network. Remember, like and subscribe. We have great content for you every single day. And today, that is no exception. We have Dave Pagnotta from the fourthperiod.com. And also, you see him on NHL Network. You see him everywhere. He is an NHL insider and does a great job. And gotten to know Dave over the last several years. So very appreciative of him taking some time today. And we caught you at a very good moment, because we've got some news concerning Leo Carlsson and the Anaheim Ducks and the offer sheet. I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah. Thanks, Ej. I mean, no surprise. A lot of people anticipated this being the case, that the Anaheim Ducks have matched the 5-year, $90 million offer sheet signed by Philly for Leo Carlsson. So the Ducks retain him. They had until Friday, but they did it a day early. And, the Samuelis, the ownership group there, Henry and Susan, basically said in a statement this was an easy decision for them to match it. So I think Philly was preparing for this after they had done it. They thought, they took big swings. They did their evaluation process and their due diligence for about 2 weeks before July 1. We were talking about this draft floor, that this was starting to percolate a little bit, and you're seeing some chatter about it. So Philly had taken their time to plan this process. But, as the days after after Friday, July 3rd started to progress, the Flyers started to get an inkling that, okay, looks like it's going to go in the match direction. And Anaheim, without real hesitation, matches this one. And Leo Carlsson, now the highest paid player in the National Hockey League per AAV at $18 million for the time being.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's going to collect just under $40 million over the next 11 and a half months. Not too bad.
Not too bad. Not bad if you can manage to do that. So congratulations to Leo Carlsson. No matter how it worked out, he was going to get the money.
Yep.
It is I think you're right. I mean, the Flyers went after the right person if you're going to do this. I mean, there's only, by my count, if you're really being generous, there's maybe 14 legitimate number one centers in the National Hockey League. They are hard to get. That are in the mid-20s or maybe higher. You're probably not going to find another Leo Carlsson. So, I think it was one of those things you had to match. You had to pay the money. They will have complete control over Carlsson starting next year. They cannot trade him right now. That's the rules in the CBA for offer sheets. So they cannot trade him for a calendar year. But after that, if they wanted to flip him for a bigger package, or if somebody like a McDavid or a Matthews were to become available, you never know how it's going to play out. We didn't think we were going to get here, right, with this big offer sheet for Carlsson. So you never really know, but they maintain the control of the players. Good shot by the Flyers. But in the end, really, all that ends up happening here, Dave, is that the prices go up for not only for Carlsson, not only for the Ducks, but for everybody in the league, including the Flyers.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the Ducks have to now get Cutter Gauthier locked in, and there's talk he's looking for around $15 million now after that offer sheet came in last Friday. And even at the draft, there was talk that Chicago's Connor Bedard was looking for $17 million. Yeah. So the numbers are going up. Quinn Hughes is going to be making at least 17 on his extension when he signs it. Makar is definitely going to be over 18 when he signs his extension. And so on and so on. The numbers are going up. We have to get used to it. And look, I think the Ducks understood that too. They took a different approach in their negotiating tactics, a little bit of a harder stance, but they still get their guy. And for a player who's, considered an Ajay Kopitar with more offensive flair, and Kopi sacrificed a lot of the numbers for defensive play, Leo Carlsson can be that plus put up bigger numbers. I mean, I think it was, as you mentioned earlier, a no-brainer for the Ducks to pull this off and to hold on to it, because you may not get another Leo Carlsson for 15, 20 years. So, the Ducks set themselves up nicely in terms of keeping the player. They'll make the money work. They're actively shopping some of their veterans, trying to move out some players to free up additional money in order to get Gauthier under the mix and potentially give them a little bit of wiggle room to do a little bit more. So a busy early July for the Ducks. And the Flyers, by the way, no plan B from all indications. Yeah. They went all in on Carlsson. I don't anticipate them shifting to like an Adam Fantilli, or at least at this moment, that's the word from Philly, that they're going to just now focus on other areas rather than going another direction with offer sheets.
Yeah, they've got Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale in arbitration, so they got to figure that out moving forward. But hey, if you look at the Flyers lineup, if they were able to have added Carlsson, you could see why they would have done it. He would have been a big piece for them. Didn't work out for them. Ducks get him. And now the Ducks, as you mentioned, Chris Kreider, Alex Killorn, Joe Vitrano, those are guys that, those are guys that could be moved out. Killorn, Kreider, 1 year left. Vitrano, 2 years left. The Leafs are looking for maybe another top 6 forward. They're up against it cap-wise, so I don't know if it can work for them. Where does this leave those guys? Maybe could the Leafs get involved? What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Leafs wouldn't mind adding another second-line winger or forward, I should say. If they get a center, you can move Tavares to the wing on the left side. But they also have a surplus of forwards. So they're still juggling. They're still looking at seeing what they can do. You can go over the salary cap by 10% in the offseason, every team. So there's more flexibility that they've got, and there's a lot more that they're looking to do, including, as I mentioned, trying to add another second-line caliber player.
Yeah.
Kreider would look good, certainly.
Yeah.
Although he's making around 6.5.
Yeah.
Killorn's
Only
at
1
6.
year left, but you'd have to move that money out, right?
Right. Exactly. So whether that's moving, in a subsequent deal, Morgan Rielly out, for example, he's at 7.5. It wouldn't be the Ducks in this case because they need to free up the money.
Yeah.
But you have Kreider, you have Killorn at 6.25. He's also on an expiring deal, and then you got Vitrano, who's got 2 years on his contract at around just over 4.5. So it's more palatable of a cap hit, but I don't know if the Leafs go in this direction, if they can take advantage of it, because I think the Ducks are willing to attach a draft pick along with the player to take the full cap hit. They have 3 second-round picks next year. So 1, 2 of those could be in play, depending on what other moves they make. But for Toronto, unless they're freeing up a little bit of money elsewhere, it might be a little tight for them to kind of take advantage of this situation. But the Ducks are looking elsewhere for alternative options, and I think Toronto will continue to kind of explore the marketplace. They've been one of the busiest teams conversationally anyway over the last 3 weeks.
All right. What do we make of the Morgan Rielly situation right now? There was, talk about maybe him moved to San Jose. That didn't work out. They opted for Darnell Nurse.
Yep.
Where are we with Rielly? Because I know John Scheika has said, listen, if we go into the season and he's on the team, that's fine with me.
Yeah, it is. They're preparing for that possibility. Now, after July 1, I reached out and to everybody kind of involved in this process with Morgan Rielly. And I said, are we done? Or is this still a possibility? And the response I got back from both sides, was it's a matter of when, not if he gets moved. Now, the only problem with that is, and I don't want to get anybody excited, overly excited, but the when is undefined. It could be this month. It could be in September. It could be, next year. I don't think it'll get stretched that long. There is motivation to explore this, and they have been deep in talks. I know Czech has kind of downplayed it a little bit, but they have been talking to other teams very much involved in discussions involving Rielly. Now, Anaheim and San Jose were 2 teams on his preferred list. He's got a 4-team preferred list out west, but it doesn't mean if another team, expresses interest and reaches a deal with Toronto that the Leafs won't go to his camp and say, hey, we've got a deal with Philly. What do you say? This will be a situational type of environment. And I know the Flyers, I believe Pittsburgh to some degree have expressed interest as well in Morgan Rielly. So we'll see if this evolves. But now with this offer sheet kind of behind them, league-wide, we'll start to see probably a little bit more movement. Like, don't be surprised. This is the summer, talking to a lot of people, where we may see, a random, July 21st big trade, and then an August 6th big trade, and a 17th. Like, there's a lot of talk and chatter. I think the last big one in August was the Matthew Tkachuk deal a number of years ago from
I think
Calgary.
that was in July even. Yeah, but you're right. We have these things that can kind of come out of nowhere because, you have the draft, you have July 1st, and then after free agency, everybody's kind of now settled in, and that's when people resume talks, right?
Yeah. And some of the free agents that are still out there, the Manthas, the Tolvanens, et cetera, they're kind of waiting to see how some of the market plays out. And if some teams can't figure out anything on the trade market, do they shift back to some of these players and say, okay, look, we like you, but, instead of the 4-year deal you're looking for, we're only prepared to do 2. Like that. And some of these players, the longer they go, may say, all right, you know what? All right, this is the right environment. But there's still a lot of conversations going on around the league. And now that this offer sheet situation has been resolved and the Ducks matched it, Let's see, is there going to be a little bit of a trickle effect in terms of activity over the next few days?
Let me throw a wild card at you when it comes to top six forwards or guys that can help offensively. Any chance Patrick Kane shows up as a Leaf?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people wondering if Patrick Kane's an option for Toronto, and the Leafs can add at any forward position. If they get a center, Tavares goes to the left. If they add a left on the second line, Nyes goes to the right side on that top line. If they add Kane on the right side,
Yeah.
Nyes can go to the second line on that left side. So there's a lot of options that the Leafs have. Now, Patrick Kane, it doesn't sound like he's going back to Detroit. There's a lot of people wondering, is Buffalo an option? Does he go home finally? Does he go back to Chicago? I think there's been some conversations with Toronto, but I think very loose. If that evolves, it means it's evolved in the last few days. But if I'm Toronto with, McKenna there and you've got Austin Matthews, do you add Patrick Kane on a low risk type of deal? If he's open to it, you get him at a low cap hit, but then you incentivize him with the bonuses. Might be a possibility for them to explore. But again, Toronto still has to kind of maneuver the market in terms of being cap compliant for the start of the season.
We got word today that the Leafs are continuing the shakeup of their front office and their scouting staff. What's the update there?
Yeah, on Wednesday they let go of 11 individuals. Danny Metcalf, their AGM, is one of them. Dave Morrison, longtime scout's another. Mark Leach is out as well. I think they're going to make a couple more changes today. Now, today they already found a new head coach for the Toronto Marlies. Steve Sullivan has come in. Mark Giordano is officially on board with the staff as an assistant. And there is some talk that, as I mentioned, we may see a few more off-ice changes today. Ryan Hardy, who's an AGM with the Leafs, he's also in charge of the Marlies. It sounds like he may be shifting to just the Leafs, and the focus may be just on the Toronto Maple Leafs moving forward, which would result in them bringing in a new GM for the Toronto Marlies. There's some talk that Chris Bourque, who's a scout with the team right now, might be in consideration for that GM post. So we'll see kind of how that evolves for the Marlies. But anticipating more changes with Toronto here this week.
All right, and I'll let you off the hook with one more thing. I thought this was interesting today. The Carolina Hurricanes had their names engraved in the Stanley Cup, which is a wonderful moment for all those involved. And it was interesting because the owner, Tom Dundon, decided to have, I guess, 7 members of his family, including, I think, small children, have their names engraved on the Stanley Cup, which is his right as the owner. I think some people have wondered, there's some staff members that weren't on there. I believe Joel Nystrom played 38 games. Sometimes you petition for a player like that to be on. He's not on there. What do you make of that decision? Because it's one that has gained a little traction on social media.
Yeah, traditionalists not happy, to say the least. I'm not fully for it. Either. I think there are some people within an organization that probably deserve to be, among those on there. I get it. You're the owner. You can do what you want, kind of deal. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if disappointed is the right word or what have you, but I would have gone in a different direction. I would have, I would have gone, him and his wife, and then I get the kids aspect as well. And I understand it. Like, you want to have your kids on there. This is part of history and whatnot. But I think, some people within the organization probably deserve to be on there. Unfortunately, they're not. But yeah, I'm not fully for it. But again, he's the owner. It's his team. He's spending the money.
You said it. At the end of the day, that's the thing. We could all comment about it, but he is the owner. It's his team. He can decide what he wants. We'll see what the fallout is. I mean, because those things, there's nothing, if you felt you should be on there and you're not, there's nothing you can do. But, sometimes you have a bad taste in your mouth. Who knows how that filters through an organization. But they won. The owner's the owner. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, he can't. I just hope everybody's rings are top quality, that he doesn't that he goes all out, at least for the rings, for the rest of the people in the organization.
Cracker Jack boxes for everybody. There you go. There you go. We'll see. All right, Dave, listen, thanks for the time today, and thanks for the news with the Leo Carlsson situation coming to an end with Carlsson ending up back in Anaheim. Dave Pagnotta from the fourthperiod.com, again, NHL Network, and Dave is everywhere. Keep track of him. He's got a lot of great information for you. Thank you, everybody, for watching today, the Toronto Sports Rush. Remember, like and subscribe. Always got good stuff for you here. EJ Hradek saying, have a good day.